All right, so are you ready to dive into some serious global politics stuff today?
Always.
It's high stakes stuff we're talking about today.
Yeah.
The future of Ukraine.
Yeah.
Things are not looking too good for them, you know,
No.
after that crazy meeting between Trump and Zelenskyy.
Right.
So we've got this article called Trump, Zelenskyy, and the Future of Ukraine.
Okay.
And it's,
It paints a pretty bleak picture
yeah, it's wild.
because,
We're going to deep dive into all this.
yeah, I'm fascinated to see
Yeah.
what you've pulled out of this one.
I think you'll find it interesting.
Yeah.
So basically, it's saying that the U.S.
Hmm.
might pull back its support
Wow.
from Ukraine,
Okay.
leaving Europe to pick up the pieces.
Right.
So, are we watching the world
Yeah.
completely realign itself?
Well, yeah, I mean, this is,
Yeah.
one of those pivot points potentially,
Yeah.
right? I mean, what happens in Ukraine is going to have ripple effects throughout the world.
Exactly.
So,
Huge.
if the U.S. does step back and
Yeah.
Europe isn't able to fill that void, I mean, that has huge implications for the global balance of power.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to unpack. What does it mean for Ukraine?
Right.
What are the consequences?
Right.
And what does it mean for the rest of us?
Yeah.
Why should we care?
Exactly.
So let's start with this meeting between Trump and Zelenskyy.
Oh, boy.
Because this is where it all kicks off, right?
Yeah.
So it seems like they were going to talk military aid,
Mm-hmm.
but it went south.
Well, it seems like Trump was more interested in doing a deal with Russia potentially than he was with, giving Ukraine the security guarantees they were looking for.
Right.
And Zelenskyy didn't really hold back. I mean, he basically told Trump that there was no way to end the war without,
Mm-hmm.
the West backing them up.
Yeah. Solid.
Security-wise.
Yeah.
And that's when everything just kind of exploded.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Trump accused Zelenskyy of, risking World War III.
Oh, wow.
And then his vice president, J.D. Vance, jumps in and criticizes Zelenskyy for being disrespectful. I mean, they canceled the press conference.
Oh, wow.
The whole thing just seems incredibly dramatic.
Dramatic is an understatement.
Yeah.
So, but there's another layer to this story.
Okay.
This article suggests that the whole conflict
Yeah.
might have been staged. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like maybe the whole fight was fake.
Wow.
Yeah. So Doris Simon,
Okay.
she's a correspondent for Germany's international broadcaster,
Right.
the Die Elf.
Okay.
She's the one who suggests this.
So she's saying that they basically made this whole hurt to make Ukraine look bad.
Exactly.
Huh.
So if that's true.
Then Trump has an excuse to cut Zelenskyy out
Okay.
and go straight to Putin.
Interesting.
So is it a genuine clash?
Mm-hmm.
Or is it,
Yeah.
a power play?
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it, about the state of international relations?
Oh, totally.
If they're willing to stage a conflict like that,
Yeah.
it's kind of scary.
What are they willing to do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What lengths will they go to get what they want?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the article doesn't stop there.
Okay.
So get this.
Yeah.
The U.S. might be about to make a major policy shift,
Okay.
and it could leave Ukraine super vulnerable.
Okay. I'm listening.
Yeah.
This is where it gets serious.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So this military expert,
Yeah.
Gustav Gressel,
Okay.
he's quoted in the article.
Yeah.
And he says that the U.S. might completely cut off
What?
all military and financial aid to Ukraine.
Wow. That's huge. What would even be the impact of something like that?
Well, they only have 6 months of supplies left
Oh, wow.
at the current rate of fighting.
Yeah.
And if they lose those Patriot missile systems,
Right.
they're going to be wide open to Russian airstrikes.
I mean, those have been crucial to their defense.
Totally.
Yeah.
This isn't just some political move. It's
Yeah.
they might not be able to defend themselves.
Yeah, this is going to affect their ability to survive, essentially.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's not just the military stuff. It's
Yeah.
the financial aid, too.
Right, because they need that to keep their economy going.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Ukraine got over 30 billion euros from the U.S. in the past 3 years.
Wow.
Losing that would be devastating.
Yeah, they'd have to print more money.
Yeah.
You get inflation,
Totally.
more instability.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if the U.S. pulls back,
Yeah.
can Europe step up?
Well, that's the question, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, can they fill that void?
Yeah.
And this article suggests they're going to have some serious challenges trying to do that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, like getting their hands on things like those Patriot systems
Yeah.
or the HIMARS launchers,
Right.
not easy.
Yeah.
Most of those are coming from the U.S.
Right.
And they need the okay from America to send them anywhere else.
Ah, so even if Europe wanted to help,
Yeah,
it might just be too slow.
exactly. And to make things even worse, the article says that Europe never bothered with those long-term supply contracts
Oh, really?
with the U.S. So yeah,
So they really weren't prepared for this.
not at all.
No.
So what can they do?
Well, there's been talk of sending over those used Eurofighter jets,
Oh, yeah.
to help Ukraine rely less on the ground-based air defense.
Makes sense.
But that's a whole other mess,
Yeah.
logistically and politically.
Yeah.
Plus, it doesn't solve the money problem,
Right.
which Ukraine desperately needs.
Yeah, they're in a tough spot. Yeah, they need to do something
Yeah.
and fast, but there are just so many roadblocks.
Yeah, and let's not forget about those internal EU squabbles.
Right.
Like the article mentions Hungary.
Yeah.
They haven't exactly been supportive of helping Ukraine.
Right. They're not really on board with sending aid.
Exactly. So that's another hurdle for Europe to deal with.
Absolutely.
So with the U.S. possibly stepping back and Europe struggling to step in, what does this mean for peace in Ukraine?
Yeah.
Is there any chance for a deal?
Well, Trump did propose that ceasefire, remember?
Yeah.
But Gressel, that military expert you talked about, he's not buying it.
Really?
He thinks it's just a way to force Ukraine to give up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And is Russia even willing to compromise?
Doesn't look like it. The article makes it pretty clear that Russia isn't really promising anything concrete.
So we don't even know if Trump is actually trying to make peace.
It could all just be a political game.
Wow. So how is everyone reacting to all of this?
Well, in Ukraine,
Yeah.
there's a lot of defiance.
Yeah, I can see that.
They see this as an attack
Yeah,
on their country,
of course.
and they want to fight back against Russia,
Makes sense.
even without the U.S.
Yeah. I mean, they've been fighting for their survival for years now.
Yeah, exactly.
So Europe.
Europe is a mix
Okay.
of worry and support.
Yeah.
You've got leaders like Macron,
In France?
and Tusk from Poland,
Right.
both saying they've got Ukraine's back.
Okay.
And then there's von der Leyen.
From the European Commission.
Yeah, she's telling Ukraine to stay strong.
But are words really enough to make Ukrainians feel safe
Right.
when they're facing this huge threat?
That's the big question.
Yeah.
Actions speak louder, Yoel.
Yeah.
And then you've got Russia.
Of course.
They're loving this.
Really?
Yeah, the article says that Kremlin officials are pretty happy about this whole U.S.-Ukraine rift.
Oh, wow.
They're praising Trump,
Really?
and they're not backing down at all.
On their territory claims?
Nope.
Oh, wow. So what happens now?
Well, the article says that European leaders are scrambling
Okay.
to organize emergency meetings.
To figure out aid for Ukraine.
Yeah, but who knows if they can act fast enough
Yeah.
and get past those internal disagreements.
Yeah.
It's all just so up in the air.
It really is like a huge chess game
Yeah.
with Ukraine's fate hanging in the balance.
Absolutely.
So what about the bigger picture?
Yeah.
What are the experts saying about how this could change the world?
Well, this could completely shake up global alliances.
Okay.
And who has the power?
Right.
If the U.S. steps back from being the world's police,
Yeah.
it leaves a gap,
Yeah.
and someone else will step in.
Like Russia?
Yeah, Russia or China.
Wow. So this Ukraine thing,
Yeah,
it could have effects way beyond Ukraine.
for sure. And then there's NATO.
Right.
If the U.S. isn't as committed to Europe's safety,
Yeah.
it weakens the whole alliance,
Yeah.
and it could make Russia bolder.
Oh, wow. That's a lot to think about.
It is.
And it's scary.
Yeah, the future of Ukraine is so uncertain.
Yeah. It really is.
And the stakes are just incredibly high.
Yeah, this whole situation is just so...
Yeah. What do you think is the most worrying part of all this?
I think it's that things could get out of control so easily.
Yeah.
Like one wrong move
Mm-hmm.
and things could escalate. There are so many powerful countries involved
Right.
and tensions are already high.
Absolutely. And we can't forget about the people in Ukraine.
Oh, of course.
This isn't just about politics.
Yeah.
Millions of Ukrainians are living through this war every single day.
Yeah, it's easy to forget about them.
It is, but it's their homes being destroyed,
Yeah.
their families being torn apart,
Right.
their lives are on hold.
It's awful.
It is.
This deep dive has really been eye-opening.
Yeah,
But it also leaves us with so many questions.
it does.
What do you think the future holds for Ukraine?
It's tough to say, really.
Yeah.
There's just so much going on,
Mm.
and things are changing so fast.
Yeah. Is there even a chance for peace?
I think there's always hope. But it's going to take a lot of work
Yeah.
from everyone involved.
So can the U.S. and Europe, like, work together to actually help?
Well, that's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah.
It comes down to whether the politicians actually want to do it.
Right.
And if Western countries can get over their disagreements
Yeah.
and even their own interests sometimes.
It's complicated stuff.
It really is. And this article really captures that.
It does. You know, it's easy to get lost in all the political stuff and
Yeah.
forget about the people actually living through this. Millions of Ukrainians are facing like unimaginable things right now.
Yeah. We can't forget about the human cost.
Yeah.
People are losing their homes.
Right.
Their families.
Yeah.
Their lives.
Yeah.
This isn't just politics.
Right.
It's real people's lives.
Exactly. So for our listeners, what can they do to like stay informed?
Well, I think the most important thing is to get information from lots of different places.
Okay.
Don't just listen to one news source. Read different articles. Listen to different podcasts.
Yeah.
Talk to people with different opinions.
Yeah. That's great advice.
And be critical of what you read and hear.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Ask yourself, who wrote this?
Mm-hmm.
Why did they write it?
Okay.
What are they not saying?
Yeah. Because it's easy to feel overwhelmed and like there's nothing you can do.
Yeah, but staying informed is doing something.
Totally. We all need to be like active participants.
Exactly. Not just passive.
Yeah.
We all have a role to play.
So this has been a really insightful deep dive.
It has.
But yeah, we still have so many questions.
Yeah, the situation is changing all the time.
It really is. So to wrap things up, the situation in Ukraine is really tense. If the U.S. pulls out, it could be devastating.
Yeah.
Europe is struggling to step up.
It is.
And Russia's waiting to take advantage.
Yeah.
But this isn't just about military stuff.
Right.
Real people are suffering.
They are.
And the human cost is already huge.
It is.
It's easy to get lost in all the complexity.
Yeah.
But we can't ignore what's happening.
No, we can't.
What happens in Ukraine affects everyone.
Yeah.
We all have responsibility to stay informed.
Absolutely.
And to think about what we can do.
It's important to remember that the future isn't set in stone. The choices that leaders and people make will decide what happens.
That's a good point.
What will they choose?
Yeah, it's a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
So as we finish up, what do you think will happen to Ukraine?
It's hard to say.
I know, but any thoughts?
I don't know. Can Europe really help?
Yeah?
Will there be a ceasefire?
Yeah.
Will the fighting get worse?
Yeah.
And what will the big countries do?
Right.
I think those are questions we all need to be asking.
Absolutely. What happens in Ukraine affects everyone.
It does.
Thanks for listening to our deep dive.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Until next time.